But we begin tonight tracking breaking news out of Adams County. A large brush fire has closed State Route 21. The road has been closed for several hours, and the US 395 is not affected right now by this fire. We are also waiting to learn how many acres have been burned as part of this fire, but there is heavy smoke throughout the area. And Adams County officials are asking people to use extra caution throughout the area, especially with this extreme heat. And with that, we want to say good evening. It is great to have you with us here tonight. I'm Joshua Robinson, and we start the night with continued coverage on this historic heat wave that has rocked the Pacific Northwest over the past week. Of course, here in Spokane, we felt those temperatures rise, but we're not the only ones battling to stay safe in these dangerous conditions. Portland and Seattle have also seen record-breaking temperatures so far this weekend. We are joined now by Michelle Boss with a look at just how hot it got here today. Michelle?
Yeah, so I'm showing you the temperatures that include western Washington and western Oregon, just to show you how extensive this heat wave is, because it's certainly not just the inland Northwest. As we take a look at temperatures at the 5 o'clock hour, Spokane sitting at 101, which has come in, at least right now, is the official high today, which would be 1 degree short of the record, but sometimes we get some additional heating in the next hour or so, so we still could top out and tie that record of 102. We've got 97 degrees in Pullman, Lewiston at 106, but looking at the west side of the state, Seattle, of course, breaking all kinds of temperature records. 102 right there, 102 in Tacoma, 112 degrees in Portland. Just taking a look at the thermometer out here at our outdoor weather center, it's registering about 110, but that's out in direct sunlight. Official temperatures are measured in a well-ventilated area in the shade, so something you may not know. All right, of course, not really a lot of good news as far as any relief anytime soon. This excessive heat warning goes until at least Thursday, and I imagine this 100-degree heat is probably going to extend right on into the 4th of July weekend. Of course, no rain to talk about at all. No rain in the forecast for this week. We continue to be in a severe drought. If you're looking for when at night we might start to see those temperatures at least get below 90 here in the short-term forecast, it looks like after 10 o'clock, sometime between 10 and 11, we should see those temperatures dip down below 90 degrees, but even those night times are going to be pretty mild out there, so it's going to be hard to cool down. Overnight lows generally in the low to mid 70s here, and you can see looks like record-breaking heat for the next 3 days.
Thank you very much, Michelle. We'll take you now to Coeur d'Alene tonight, where racers have been out all day for the Ironman race. KREM 2's Ian Smay joining us now with the latest from Race City. Hey, Ian.
Good evening, Joshua. Those high temperatures are sticking around here in Coeur d'Alene, and the athletes have had to deal with that heat all day. In fact, just a few minutes ago, I took the temperature of the pavement here at the bike to run transition, and it was 125 degrees on the ground. Now, Coeur d'Alene Ironman officials did take some precautions due to the high heat this year, and by the time the front-running professionals were finishing earlier today, things were going well. It was a scorching hot day for the 2021 Coeur d'Alene Ironman on Sunday. Temperatures were projected to reach just under 110 degrees, and on the pavement, it was even hotter today. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, the average high temperature in Coeur d'Alene in June is 74 degrees. We took the temperature of the pavement right past the finish line a few minutes before the professional men's winner crossed the line. The thermometer read a whopping 132.6 degrees. While an unofficial course record was set by winner Sam Long, the elite athletes were definitely feeling the heat.
It was the thing that it just got hotter and hotter throughout the day, and I mean, we're lucky we're done at 1 in the afternoon, and the age groupers still have 10 hours of heat or something crazy. So
the Pacific Northwest's current heat wave has been in the forecast for some time now, and the organizers of Coeur d'Alene Ironman were paying attention. They told us earlier this week that they have 45 more volunteers working in the medical tents than they did in 2015, which was another historically hot running of the race in North Idaho.
We've had a similar experience back in 2015, so we've been well aware of, these high extreme heat conditions in this type of race. So our medical staff and volunteers are prepared for that.
Dr. Kevin Chang said a little before the first men professionals crossed the line this morning that it was too early to tell if we would see more heat-related illnesses this year. At that point, he said the medical tent hadn't dealt with any, but that doesn't mean the athletes were out of the woods. While it may have been hot in the early afternoon, about 8 hours into the race, Chang says those working in the medical tent are ready for an influx when temps get even higher.
We're hopeful that doesn't happen, and hopefully, the competitors will make good choices out there, but we may see an influx of people coming in, late afternoon, evening.
Chang says he was hoping that those watching the race would also stay safe in the heat. He recommended finding shade when possible and drinking water, but only when you're thirsty. If you drink too much, he says, you could cause a dangerous electrolyte imbalance.
Also news coming from the Coeur d'Alene Ironman, Sam Long was the men's pro finisher representing the USA. He broke the course record. On the women's side, Carrie Lesser, also representing the USA, won as well. 150 participants will get to go to Kona for the Ironman World Championship, and she also finished with her own course record today. Now, while the Ironman does bring some elite athletes from all over the world to North Idaho, for some, they're not trying to break any records in this race. It's about proving something to themselves. Crim 2's Karthik Venkatraman, it tells us more about the race for one finisher, and one of the participants is Ron Witherup, who is bib 148, his very first Ironman triathlon, all very new to him, but the purpose to finish is inspirational.
I've been training so hard and been so dedicated to this. This to me is going to be one of probably my biggest accomplishment in life. And it's for him.
Seth Witherup was inspired to join the military from a young age. His dad, Ron, was in the Air Force. And when he showed up to Seth's school in the 3rd grade with his uniform on, his son was beaming with pride.
He grabbed me and pulled me around and showed me to every single one of his, I got late to the base and got in trouble because he took an hour to show me to every one of his teachers, every one of his friends, and he was so proud of me that day.
Seth would eventually join the Marines. As much as he wanted to excel at a young age, he wanted to excel in his career.
A Marine Corps Ironman is a Marine who has a perfect fitness score. And he had it 2 years in a row, and in his squadron, his picture was up there as the only one who was a Marine Corps Ironman in his squadron.
A son's athletic prowess challenged his dad to exercise more too. Through technology, they tracked each other to find out how many calories each was burning every day. And they made a friendly competition about it, even though Ron was in the United States and Seth was in Japan.
Without fail, my watch would ding every time I woke up. He burned 7,000 calories. Good. Now I know what I have to go do on the treadmill to compete, to beat him, and I'd do 7,002. That ding was our way of connecting.
That made it all the more difficult when it didn't happen anymore.
One of the things I remember the most is I kept waiting for that ding to happen, and it never did.
On February 21st, 2019, Ron got the phone call that a parent with a child in the military never wants to get.
It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and my phone rang. There was a sergeant on it and said, "I'm standing outside your door. Can you let us in?" I looked at my wife immediately and said, "Seth's fast." I knew right then and there. It was the worst day of my life. Absolutely the worst day of my life.
Seth took his own life, caused from post-traumatic stress syndrome. He was just 21 years old.
I went dark. I went into some deep, dark places that, I needed help to get out of.
But Ron found a way to pick himself back up through running.
When I found running again, it's what I needed to really find that outlet to really start to get out of that hole that I was in.
He started training for the Marine Corps Marathon, which he would finish. He kept running, even with degenerative knee arthritis. And then he realized that he wanted to push himself even more for Seth.
I have to do it for him. I have to go do this for him so that we both can have that connection of being Ironman.
This will be Ron's first, and he says likely his only Ironman. He's been training for the past 18 months, picking up biking and swimming, which he'd never done before.
I can do this. I can get this done.
Ron's goal is simple: finish. He knows that would make Seth proud. And he knows Seth will be with him through this Ironman.
So he's there pushing me. He's there motivating me. And he is going to be the driving force pushing me through this Ironman. It's going to be the greatest physical achievement of my life, but he's going to be there to make sure I finish.
And we have been tracking Ron's progress toward finish all day. We'll keep you updated at 6 o'clock here on KREM 2 News. And his message to everyone is, if you know someone with PTSD, do everything you can to help them. We're rooting for Ron to finish this race for his son. What a special moment that would be in his memory. Well, in wildfire news today, crews are still battling the flames and the heat of the Little Pine Fire in northern Idaho. On our last check, the fire has reached 50% containment and has burned 180 acres. That fire is burning near Priest River and Pine Creek, and people should expect to experience smoke throughout the area. Crews have been working in high heat since the fire first broke out on Tuesday, and a major concern for the crews has been preventing heat sickness and exhaustion, because this heat wave makes fighting wildfires like this one extremely dangerous for ground crews. Starting tomorrow, the Freya Street on-ramp to eastbound I-90 will be closed until September. Drivers will be detoured to the Custer Road on-ramp. The closure is part of a paving project in the interstate between the Hamilton Street exit and the Sprague Avenue exit. The on-ramp will be closed for the entire duration of that road project. Well, the Spokane Hospitality Coalition is hosting another event tomorrow to help people find jobs in the restaurant and hospitality industry. The Hospitality Hiring Mixer will feature more than 15 local industry leaders. No resumes are required. And Coalition member Brian Toston says the demand for workers is very real, and that many restaurant owners in Spokane don't have the staff to accommodate 50% capacity, let alone full capacity.
There's all sorts of reasons out there that people just aren't ready to throw themselves back into the workforce yet. And that's hard on us, but we have to understand that.
But if you are ready for work, the event does take place tomorrow, Monday, June 28th at the Wonder Building. You can find more information, including how to register, right now on the Spokane Hospitality Coalition's Facebook page. And we're just 3 days away right now from the light at the end of the COVID tunnel. On June 30th, the state of Washington is slated to fully reopen basically no matter what. Businesses will be allowed to have full capacity for the first time since the start of the pandemic last year, but it might not be time for you to throw away your masks just yet. Mask mandates are still going to be dictated by the CDC guidelines and local governments. Fully vaccinated people will have much more freedom when it comes to not wearing their masks than people who have yet to receive a vaccine. And with all this heat, we're going to take one last look outside with Michelle.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing 100 degree plus heat pretty much all week, right on into the July 4th weekend. So I don't know if we can pull up the 7-day forecast, but it looks like we will be breaking records likely Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And there may be a couple of records broken beyond that as well. Hottest day looks to be Tuesday at 110, which would break our all-time hottest temperature in Spokane, which was 108.